Steffann about the latest developments in Saudi Arabia in regards to version 6.
Good morning. So, I want to show you an example of an IPv6 deployment that had some very interesting results, namely the one in Saudi Arabia. So, this was a project by CATC, the telecom regulator of Saudi Arabia, and they decided to hire some external experts, people you might have heard about, so Gerd During and myself. The project started in the beginning with 3-4 meetings a year. They continued to have 2 meetings a year. And as you can see on the next slide, it was quite a long project. It started in July 2008 with a kickoff meeting. And then over the years, there was a strategy for the ISPs. There was a meeting with the vendors. The first root server, L-Root, came to Saudi Arabia. And basically, in all this time, all these years, there was a lot of work done. As you know, Saudi Arabia has its own international filters. So they filter all kinds of traffic they don't want into their country. So those had to be taken care of. And a lot of things happened, but from the outside, it was hardly noticeable. Also, RightBNCC and MNOC did a lot of work. As far as I could count, there were 8 IPv6 roadshows given there. Some of them were given by me, some by others, between 2011 and 2014. So basically, two roadshows or two trainings per year. And what we saw there was that in the beginning, there was a lot of focus on the ISPs, on how to deploy IPv6 and give it to your customers. Later, they already started focusing on enterprises, which was basically last year. They started doing trials with pilot projects with enterprises, with national research networks, and things like that. So I think they're on a very good track. They're looking at the important points. As we saw also during the IPv6 working group yesterday, the enterprise bit is still a difficult one. And like I said, in the beginning and up to last year, nothing was really visible. And then at the beginning of this year, this is the graph of the IPv6 traffic coming from Saudi Arabia. Thanks to APNIC for providing the data on this. And as you can see, it's like 0, 0, 0, 0. And then in one go, it jumps all the way up to 6%. And zooming in a little bit, this basically happened within 1 month. All the traffic came up in a couple of weeks. So we've seen countries like Switzerland grow fast. We've seen Belgium grow very fast. But now you can see what Saudi Arabia is suddenly coming up. And I'm pretty convinced that this is not the end of the line going up. So a bit of on the timing of this. First active user on the 7th of April. And on the 7th of May, they had a big conference. And this is pretty much what triggered this deployment. There was a big conference. The regulator gave it a lot of attention. So it was the final part of this deployment project. It was widely announced. And, of course, a place for the telco, STC is the national Saudi telco, to show off what they had done. So basically, completely invisible, lots of stuff happening behind the scenes. And then you see that this good preparation basically just makes them, gives them the ability to just turn on V6, like it should happen. I know that other operators like Mobily will follow soon. And because of this, Saudi Arabia is already in the top 20 worldwide now of IPv6 countries. So what effects did we see from this quick deployment? One of them was the content, and everybody was like, oh, there are no users on IPv6 at all, we don't need to do anything. Even if we would enable V6 for our website, nobody would be able to see it. And then within 3 weeks, it goes up to a significant level. So this was really a shock for content providers that thought that they had a couple of years to deploy, because it turned out they didn't. The other one is that this, of course, caused a bit of competition between the ISPs, so now the other ISPs can't wait for too long before they start deploying, otherwise it would make them look bad. So this actually had a lot of effect. So, what I wanted to show you with this is that IPv6 can come up really quickly if good preparation is done. In this case, it was a good task force. There was a national strategy for IPv6. The operator was supporting it. And in this, I mean, people think of Saudi Arabia as strictly top-down, but I must say that CITC handled this with very gentle nudges in the right direction. They weren't enforcing anything. They were just guiding people in the right direction. I think this is a really good example. Lots and lots of training was provided, mostly by the NCC in MINOG. And the last bit we learned from the enterprise part is that there's a lot of stuff to be done in that area. It hasn't gotten enough attention. And I noticed that the right policies, especially for people whose language is not English, are very hard to understand. It took me 2 months to guide the National Computing Center into becoming an LIR because they had no idea what all the terms meant, what PA and PI was, and this was actually very hard for them. So it was also a wake-up call for me that this is, for us it's really simple, but for people who are not regularly involved, it was really hard and really difficult to understand. They were confused about the charging scheme. They said, oh, there's a 2,000-year sign-up, and then the next year I have to pay 1,600. It's like, no, the first year you have to pay and the sign-up and the membership fee. And this caused a lot of confusion. So that's also something we should remember, that for us this stuff is easy, for outsiders it's hard. But apart from that, Saudi Arabia basically showed that a couple of years of very good preparation makes it possible to turn IPv6 on in 3 weeks' time. So, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. And with that, we'd like to the RIPE NCC.